Sir,
Mm.
so we'll start.
Sure.
Yeah. So we are live. Uh, Indumati, can you check if we are live on the YouTube? Okay, so yes, sir, we are live. Uh, Yeah, so good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Dhruv Badwa, sir, who has achieved an outstanding rank of AIR 31 in INI-CET May 2026 examination. He completed his MBBS from HIMSR Delhi and has kindly joined us today to share his preparation journey and insights from the examination. Congratulations, sir, on this remarkable achievement. We are delighted to have you with us and eager to learn from your experiences and guidance. Uh, Thank you, sir, for coming. And uh, without further ado, I would like to begin with the first question uh, that we prepared for you. Uh, yes. Sir, to begin with, could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us about your MBBS journey and what inspired you to prepare seriously for INI-CET and achieve such a great rank?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me, and thanks to Quizwings for giving me a platform to, share my insights and my journey. So yeah, back to your question. Yeah. So basically, our time was COVID's time, batch 2020. So my college, HIMSR, is a deemed college, a private one. So it was always in me, from the day one to, अगर MBBS में नहीं हो पाया तो surely I'll do in MD. So that kept me going throughout the 5 years. And and there is no such thing as strategy when it comes to the entrance. Strategy is synonymous with consistency and not being procrastinating. So being consistent throughout the years would be the motto.
Okay, sir. Sir, so as you spoke about consistency, how did you stay consistent throughout the entire preparation? Were there any days where you felt less motivated and or felt like not like studying? So how did you overcome those days?
Surely those are, these days outnumbered my, productive days. MBBS is a long journey. People think it's easy, ho jayega. But, being consistent, I don't, want to give a false message out there. I also did trips. I enjoyed with my friends. But at the end, that urge to, get more and more and more kept me going. And of course, there were a lot of setbacks. There were days when I felt like कि क्या करना है अब क्यों पढ़ना है but time passes and you get over it and you keep doing what you do and keep
Uh,
faith in yourself.
Uh, sir, that was a good advice. So, moving on to the next question. So, there's a lot confusion regarding study resources. Do you think RR notes or BTR notes or combination of both is enough? Especially for someone who hasn't read standard textbooks in their prof years. So, yeah.
Yes, specifically for them, if you are asking if they haven't read or from the main notes of marrow or dams, I am not favoring anyone, but if someone hasn't read main notes, then of course it is a valuable asset. But if they are preparing from second year, third year, which I have been doing, so then main notes, of course, are way ahead than BTR. BTR only gives you pointers. Meanwhile, in the INI-CET, for INI-CET, basically they ask in-depth concepts. So by learning one-liner concepts and just they barely scrape the surface. if I'm being blunt. But
Uh,
if you want in depth, you have to go to main notes. I'm not saying every person can read, full page to page Robbins, Harrison's, Bailey's. But yes, main notes should be done.
yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir, for that advice. I think students will get a lot of help from that because that was the most asked question. Sir, also, as you said, you studied from second year, third year. So, how was your preparation journey throughout the years, throughout the prof years, and then in internship? Like,
First year was, all enjoyment and, not, only taking the prof seriously. But by the end of second year, I mainly, prepared from marrow and dams. So, from the end of second year, I was like doing from the main notes, covering the third year subjects, and from the third year onward, I started doing 100 questions, 200 questions every day. Minimum 50 to 100 I used to do from custom module. As I believed in a retrospective approach. कि अगर आप main notes पढ़ रहे हो तो it becomes slightly boring sometimes, and then it feels like it is unproductive. But if you do 50 questions and you doesn't matter if you get only 30 right, 20 right, but you learn 50 new concepts, and by retrogradely you can go to main videos and revise those concepts.
Uh, yes, sir. That was a wonderful advice and in detail explanation. Sir, coming to the next question, there were many students who studied first year and second year subjects from the standard textbooks or the Indian textbooks, and then moving on to internship. How did you manage those first year and second year subjects? Like, did you changed your notes or what did you study?
To be honest, internship is kind of hectic. So by fourth year, my third year and final year subjects were a little bit. It was in good hands, I would say. I had a good preparation of those subjects. Internship, I gave sole direction to the first and second year subjects. कि I used to do anatomy क्योंकि बहुत थोड़ा रटोफाई वाला सब्जेक्ट होता है. So I used to do that, give a lot of time to that in internship. मतलब मैंने reference books I may have not read in internship, but from main notes I have read everything.
So,
Because there is no time actually in internship ना कि आप you go back to the books and revise. So you have to stick to notes.
yes, sir. So it is advisable to switch to notes instead of textbooks
Yeah,
in it.
it is advisable.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, could you also briefly walk us through your revision strategy? Like, what did your first revision look like, and how were the later revisions different from the first revisions?
See, I made a schedule. कि before INI-CET, I have to complete my syllabus 4 or 5 times. So, from the starting of internship till 16th May, which was our exam. So, from the start, I took 2 to 3 months for my first revision. Did all the main notes. Matlab, not all. Some topics or short subjects I knew, so I skipped that. But majorly, I did everything in about 2.5 to 3 months. But side by side, it was important because the important thing is I was doing 50 to 100 questions every day, and giving a GT twice. Oh, sorry, one in 2 weeks. So that is very important. You have to check where you stand. If you just keep reading and reading and not test in the real world scenarios, then it doesn't matter.
Uh, Yes, sir. Thank you for the knowledge, sir. I hope students will get benefit from it. Sir, the question which we came across a lot was many students struggled with making a choti copy for revision because everything seemed important to them. So, how did you decide what to include in your final revision notes?
See, some of the questions asked in Q banks or GTs are, very, very far-fetched. Like only, 5-10% people can do it. Like they are very difficult or it is like impossible to remember. So that I used to leave. I did not do anything which, 15% people were doing it correct. I did not give my time to that because first it was very difficult to learn. Second of all, I might not remember and it needs 3 or 4 revisions. So why take it more time? The middle part, which is 30 to 60%, I gave my time to. If 30 to 60% people are able to get it correct, I should also get it correct. And I included in my choti copy, or you should say notes or GT notes, anything. So that I revised again and again. So learning very complex things and giving, more chunk of your time is not also advisable. You should concentrate on quality and not quantity.
Yes, sir. That's something every aspirant must pay attention to. Thank you for sharing, sir. I'll now hand it over to my co-host, Indumati, who will continue the interview from here. Uh,
Sure.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Congrats again on achieving this amazing rank, sir. Continuing with the questions, sir, I want to ask about GTs. When should students start giving GTs and how often should they give them?
See, in a scenario when you are serious, I was serious and I started giving GTs from, from the last year of my MBBS, from mid last year, I guess. And I gave, first, I was like, I got very less corrects. So I was a little reluctant to give. But then, uh, I was like कि यार गलत तो होंगे ही and you should keep on doing. So first my frequency was like once a month. Then it was, once fortnightly. And then by the end of, when my final props were coming, I was giving it weekly. And internship, I tried to stick to that schedule, but, it was difficult. Sometimes, because of the night duties and everything. But more or less, I stick to that schedule. So yeah, from starting of internship or from the final year, I would suggest to give to get a good grip.
Yes, sir. Then how did you analyze your GTs and what should students focus on while reviewing them?
See, reviewing a GT, it's not about just reviewing your incorrects or the question you skipped. It's about, doing it all. Sometimes, people do, they're confused between two options and, they do the tukka strategy. Yeah, I do this or that and it gets correct. And if they only, check the incorrect ones, they would miss out that guess questions. So it is important to, see it like you are getting 200 new concepts. Be it right, be it wrong, be you skipped. So first is first, then reviewing is like, uh, you know, like I told Sanskriti, the 30 to 60% people that attempt some questions that I used to give my more focus to. If a question is being correctly attempted by only 5 to 10% people, then I will not give my time to that question because it is a very rare concept and it is highly unlikely that it will get asked. And it is also very difficult to memorize. So the 30 to 60% which is get attempted and it is corrected by the number of people giving it, I would give my focus more to that. And of course, the incorrect questions and skipped questions, I would add it to my choti copy or, my notes so that I can review it later also.
Yes, sir, that was insightful. I think that's something every aspirant should give attention to. Do you think INI-CET preparation is different from NEET PG, or can students prepare for both at the same time?
I would be lying if I said yes, but they are different. And because main thing is INI-CET likes to ask, in depth of first and second year subjects. And NEET is more like they will give more weightage to the final year subjects. For instance, in our INI-CET which we gave, 27 or 28 questions were asked from pharma only out of 200. So that is a huge chunk. And second is the reason assertion, which, out of 200, about 12 to 15 questions were reason assertion questions. So reason assertion also needs more concept building. So first and second year is kind of, rectifying types also. So it is different. NEET and INI-CET prep is different.
So how was your preparation towards that analytical and concept-based questions for INI-CET?
It was like, I used to give, like I told Sanskriti, I used to give every day 50 to 100 questions. Be it my night duty, be it I'm very tired, I used to give 50 to 100 questions, and I would select, that you can select different things like INI-CET PYQ or NEET PYQ or, graph based questions or number based questions. I would select that and I would go to the hard difficulty so that I get used to that hard question. So if paper comes hard, I can also solve it. So, giving 50 to 100 questions every day is important. And a retrograde approach is important कि आपको जो question नहीं आया आप फिर मेन notes चले जाओ and वहां से देख लो.
Yes, sir. That's a wonderful perspective. I'm sure they'll find your approach very helpful. For interns who don't have time to revisit standard textbooks, how can they strengthen their concepts efficiently during internships?
See, internship is time demanding, so the choice only left is the BTR notes or the rapid revision notes. But the thing is, only BTR or rapid revision is not sufficient. They also have to do a good chunk of question. As I mentioned earlier, ki BTR and rapid revision, though it is very effective, I would not say that it is not effective, but they barely scratch the surface. They focus on PYQs and one-liners and not concept building. So if sorry, so if they start from internship, then of course BTR and rapid revision is very important, but simultaneously doing a good chunk of questions and giving GTs regularly is also very important.
And after a tiring day of internship, how did you manage to study efficiently, sir?
I did not. It was very hectic. But retrograde approach helped me a lot. Giving GTs and then revising things, because you cannot do theory after being tired and after night duties or long shifts. So it is better you do questions, and then if you get it wrong, correct, it doesn't matter. You revise from that. So that was my whole, internship का बस यही था मोटो कि GTs देते रहो, कस्टम मॉड्यूल्स देते रहो एंड सब्जेक्ट टेस्ट देते रहो एंड उसके अकॉर्डिंग जैसी परफॉर्मेंस है वैसे वैसे रिवाइज करते रहो.
So talking about custom modules, what questions did you include in custom modules, and was it full syllabus or subject-wise questions?
Earlier it was subject wise, like I did 40 questions का एक सेट. उसमें मैंने पहले फर्स्ट ईयर का सब्जेक्ट्स ले लिया, एनाटमी, बायोकेम, फिजियो. देन सेकेंड ईयर ऐसे हर दिन जैसे 40-50 क्वेश्चंस करे, एंड आई यूज्ड टू इंक्लूड द होल ईयर in that custom module, one year. Then if I was not feeling like giving a GT, I would include all the subjects and give 100 question mini GT types. So it was not a rigid schedule, but I would say कि हाँ मतलब what I felt doing that day or what I felt I was lacking in some subject, I would give that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that answer. Based on recent trends, what level of accuracy or approximately how many correct answers should someone aim for to secure a rank within the top 1,000?
In INI-CET or NEET?
INI-CET, sir.
In INI-CET for top 1,000, I would say about 145 to 150 corrects. And it is advisable to leave questions. Like in my case, I left 15 questions and I got 158 correct. So
That's
accuracy,
amazing.
yeah, accuracy also matters. It is not like if you are not getting some question, you have to do it. It is only you get only one chance and you have to attempt 200. It is not like that. If you're not getting something, just leave it. Well, you have to put in the thought of negative marking in it also. And yes, about that 1,000 rank, it is around 145 to 150. Correct.
Yes, what's one common myth about INI-CET preparation that you would like to bust?
Common myth is yes. Common myth is attempting all the questions. You don't need to attempt all the questions.
Yeah, that's a fantastic message, and I hope our viewers remember that throughout their preparation. Before we wrap up, if you could give just 3 practical pieces of advice to every INI-CET and EPG aspirant, what would they be?
The one advice I would like to give is like manifestation works and you have to believe you can do it. Sometimes setbacks might come, you might score less in GTs, you might not feel like studying, but it is a path of life and everyone goes through it. You just have to, uh, keep faith in yourself and keep on doing. One day you will get your worth of success. That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your insightful answers and sharing your valuable experiences with us, sir. Your practical advice will certainly help many students preparing for NEET PG and INI-CET. We truly appreciate your time and wish you all the very best for your residency and your future endeavors, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks a lot for Quizwings for inviting me to give my insights. I hope it will be helpful to some people.
Yes, sir, it will be very helpful. It's our pleasure to have you, sir. And to everyone
Thank you.
watching, thank you for joining us. We hope you found this session helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.